Hi there, this is a pre-intro to the intro to the video you're about to watch, but I filmed this after I've already finished editing the video you're about to watch. Anyway, firstly, if you could hit subscribe, that would be great. Secondly, this whole video is about a scoring criteria that I've brought in to be able to more objectively measure the bikes that I'm taking out and reviewing. If you don't care about all the criteria, and this video goes into a lot about the criteria, if you want to move to the 5-minute and 6-second mark, you'll see all of the bikes and all their scoring. Maybe you'll see your bike, maybe not. But if you would like your bike to be in there, if you live within about 100 or 150 miles of Bristol and you reach out to me, maybe I could come and review your bike, film it, and you could see your bike in that table. And with that, enjoy. Since I've had this channel, I've been lucky enough to do 22 so far motorbike reviews, with many more to come. Well, maybe 20 actually, because 2 are my bikes. I don't know if they count or not. But it's really tricky when you're doing a review on a bike to not be prejudiced by, well, I wouldn't buy that bike anyway, so I don't like it, or it's crappy road conditions, or the weather's not perfect, or 100 different reasons to influence how you feel about that bike. So as a homage to Doug DeMuro, the American car YouTuber, I remember many years ago when he created the Doug score. So I've created the Ross Ride score. So each bike will be measured on a total of 10 criteria in 2 5-criteria blocks, with a score out of 50 of each, and then summing up to 100. And this will hopefully take away some of my prejudice, maybe, on how I look at these bikes to give it a fair score that represents how I think it sits in the market. I'll show you all the criteria now and talk through some of the reasons or some of the ways each bike will be scored. And then after that, we'll have a look at the list of all the bikes I've done so far, and hopefully you'll see your bike in there and where it scores. And if not, when I get to your bike next, you'll see where it will sit in the table. It'd be awesome if you could hit subscribe to keep hopefully seeing these reviews, as I want to try to give a real world honest opinion on these bikes to make sure that you're making the right decisions and considering all the options when you're making your next purchase. So let's have a look at the criteria. So first of all, you can see how it will be presented. We have make, model, and the first block of 5 is our weekend category, and our second block of 5 is our daily category. So under weekend, we have styling, acceleration, handling, torque in Newton meters, and coolness with a total there. And for daily, our features, comfort, our miles per gallon, the practicality, and our cost, as in the version I tested. And another total there, with the Ross Ride score total being a summation of the 2. So first of all, we have styling. So styling is done through 10 down to a 1, 10 being cutting edge design, innovative and iconic, and 1 or 0, God forbid, is no style, purely utilitarian. And next we have acceleration, the one I think all of us care about, even though we probably pretend that we don't. So I've had to give it a band of a criteria here. So the fastest rated will be 2 seconds to 2.4, and the slowest would be 6 seconds, which would get 2 or indeed 0 points. I had to give it a bit of a banding because I've taken into account for most modern motorcycles are going to be faster than 6 seconds, but there might be some that pop up that are a little bit slow. Now handling. So to be a 10, that's precision handling and razor sharp response. And the worst is very poor handling or unsafe. So next, torque. Finally, we have a way to see how cheap torque is. So the lowest category is 10 to 29 Newton meters, with the highest being 190 to 200 Newton meters. Now that bike would be a weapon. We all have our own criteria for what's cool and what's not cool, but here's mine. So to get a 10, that's an iconic, universally admired and timeless. To get a 1, no cool factor at all, purely utilitarian. I think I'd rather that than bland, boring and unappealing. Now these next 4 criteria are relatively simple, but I'll whiz through them anyway. So firstly, we have the feature scoring table. So a 1 is extremely basic with minimal features, and 10 would be a highly advanced motorbike with top of the line technology and features. Comfort. 1 would be an extremely uncomfortable, impossible to ride for more than 30 minutes. Now for me, that's the marker of a bike when you know half an hour through traffic or half an hour through slow moving roads, you're going to go, this bike isn't for me. But a 10 would be perfect all ergonomics, incredibly comfortable for any ride duration. Practicality. This one was a little bit trickier because I took it away from the as tested version and thought about what you could get for your bike or that particular bike to make it as practical as possible. So 1 would be very limited storage and not designed for passengers, and 10 would be exceptionally practical, designed for maximum usability and comfort. Now this is important because when I tested my 1300 GS, I've made it a single seater and it has no panniers. But of course, it did come with 2 seats and you could make it very practical. So this has a little bit of nuance depending on what's available for that bike. And miles per gallon scoring table. 1 is around 10 miles per gallon, God forbid any bikes out there that do that, and 10 would be an outstanding fuel efficiency, 100 miles per gallon or more. Now, I didn't want this just to be a table that shows that the most expensive bikes or the fastest bikes are the best, because that isn't necessarily true. So I picked a criteria here between 5,000 and 40,000. So between 5 and 7,999 is an 8 to 10 score, and between 30 and 40 is a 1 to 0 score. So here is the table, all filled out. Now, the thing that might pop straight out to you is the 3 numbered cells, which are grey. That is firstly the 6 for the acceleration on the Hypermotard. I actually couldn't find it online, so I gave it a 6, which is about middle of the road for that sort of bike. And the 2 10 miles per gallon for the electric bikes. They're probably very fuel efficient because they don't take fuel, so they got a 10. Now, what jumps out first of all is number 1, the M1000XR with a total score of 74. When you look at all the criteria, the styling, I think it's gorgeous. Acceleration is incredibly fast. Handling, it's sharp as you like. Torque, a little bit down on that, 4-cylinder engine. I think it's very cool, particularly the M1000. Features is up there. Comfort, very good. Miles per gallon, not the best, and it is an expensive bike, but a 74, a very respectable score. Interestingly, my R1300 GS sits with a 70. Now, I don't know how I feel about that. I was hoping it would be first, but it's not, but I'm okay with that. As we shuffled down the table, my Monster 950 is a 54, so that's about right, I think. I'm fairly okay with that. Now, the poor bikes, let's go down to the bottom. That Himalayan 450, it is done incredibly well on cost, incredibly well on miles per gallon, but that weekend score, it is severely penalised, as is the 310 and as is that XLR 250. So, as I said, each review, the score will go into this table, and I hope you found this interesting, and I hope this at least gives some context to my opinion on these bikes. And with that, if you can again hit subscribe or comment or like, or even better, I've decided with about 100 and 150 mile radius of Bristol, if you've got a particularly cool bike that you'd like to be reviewed and to be in this table, reach out to me. I'm sure to ride other people's bikes, so I can come and film a review. With that, cheers.